Aloha mai kako. My name is David Lassner, and I serve as the president of the University of Hawaii, leading our 10-campus system and our flagship University of Hawaii at Manoa. We serve these islands, which are the ancestral home of the Kanaka Maoli, or Native Hawaiian people. My own ancestry involves centuries of wandering, but I am now privileged to make my home in lush Waiomau within Palolo Valley, in the Ahupua'a of Waikiki, within the Moku of Kona on the island of Oahu. I am personally grateful to this place and her people, both of which have embraced me for over 4 decades. Over 125 years ago, Queen Liliuokalani yielded the Hawaiian Kingdom and these territories under duress and protest to the United States to avoid the bloodshed of her people. And it was nearly 30 years ago that the U.S. government formally apologized for this act, which it has acknowledged as an illegal overthrow. As the only public institution of higher education in Hawaii, the University of Hawaii is strategically clear in our commitment to become a model Indigenous serving institution, committed to the sustainability of Hawaii's people, islands, language, culture, and knowledge. This strategic imperative is named Hawaii Papaokeao, or the Hawaii Foundation of Enlightened Knowledge. So today I welcome you all, and I offer up an invitation to join us in celebrating the University of Hawaii's ongoing contributions to the advancement of Indigenous Hawaiian knowledge. Mahalo.
Aloha mai kako. I am Mainette Kapiahiokalani Patakinani Benham, Chancellor of the University of Hawaii West Oahu and co-chair of Hawaii Papaokeao, with Chancellor of Maui College, Dr. Louis Hokoana. Hawaii Papaokeao was established in January 2012 and consists of representatives from all 10 campuses. The purpose of this presidentially appointed committee is to set goals and objectives to address the higher education needs of Native Hawaiians through 3 pathways: leadership development, community engagement, and Hawaiian language and cultural parity. Our discussions focused on how our Native Hawaiian students, faculty, and staff, and their families were managing this challenging time. Committee members shared that folks on their campus were feeling isolated, disconnected, and depressed due to the psychosocial, emotional, and economic impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic. So we asked, what could Hawaii Papaokeao do? And after some discussion led by Tapori Tangaro, representative from Hawaii Community College, we decided that we wanted to address Indigenous well-being through the nourishment that can be found in the abundant talent and knowledge across our campus communities. Hence, the birth of the inaugural Hawaii Papaokeao series, He Ukana Aloha ka Kīlauea. E nānea kako I ka ike kupuna I ho'owili ai mai ki kilo mai. Enjoy and be enriched by the wisdom passed down from our kupuna through so many generations to us today. Aloha.
No tihi la wea te aloha la hanali oka ke le tamoana la hana holoma mua holoma ho pela hana taupono tai hui tamatahani la hana haeo mai Kīlauea la hana taua he ahe ia I taili tai la hana hakinu a kauahi I te tai la hana no mea e kaui la malaha la hana waho mai a o taihi vila hana no kamehameha e 5.
pi'ina kala I ha'e ha'e ai ka mole olu o le hua aloha awakea kākou. Wahi a kupuna e opua li'i. Have the heart, have the na'au, have the disposition of a chief. The leader that we are recognizing today exemplifies this olelo no e au he opua li'i no kona. This is an ali'i, a leader whose dedication has lifted our lahui, and we have all benefited from her hard work in advancing Kanaka health and education. He mamo ali'i. You know when you guys go up to the forest and you spot that lehua mamo right there on the screen, and your eyes are just drawn to its excellence, its beauty, its ku'oko'a, its uniqueness among all the red lehua out there. Well, this is our ali'i today, he mamo ali'i oya. And the leadership provided by our ali'i makes her stand out like this lehua mamo ouka. Before we continue and I let you know who our mamo ali'i is, a few housekeeping rules. This webinar is being recorded and will be available on the Hawaii Papo Keao website. During this presentation, we will be monitoring the chat. Please feel free to type your questions and comments. And we will also have a Q&A at the end for you to unmute or share your mana'o or questions that you may have. This is us. We are some of the faculty at Iolahaloa, Hawaii Lifestyles at Hawaii Community College. And for our contribution to He Ukana Aloha ka Kīlauea, we were tasked to focus on a regional ali'i and leadership. At our initial meeting to decide who we wanted to focus on, we were throwing names out on the table. Manono, Hanakahi, Kulukulua, and all of our Hawaii Island chiefs that are ali'i, you know. And Pele asked, well, why do we have to focus on the past? Why can't we focus on someone today who exemplifies the qualities of a leader? And we immediately knew who we wanted to focus on. And the ali'i we want to focus on is Auntie Gail Makuakāne-Lundin. And in preparation for today, we were fortunate to talk with Auntie Gail's ohana, her sisters and her niece, Auntie Liz, Auntie Annie, Auntie Teresa, and Rabi Ann. And the biggest takeaway of this talk story was the love and support evident in the Makuakāne ohana. Each of these women in their own right have an opu ali'i, have that generosity of spirit, have that dedication in their fields. And this love of family that the Makuakāne evidenced and the love of community ensures the success of not only their family, but of our Kanaka Maoli community. And our hua is rooted in Hawaii Island in the moku of Puna.
kele ana I mau kele.
Keia ka mo'okua hau o ka ohana Makuakāne.
O Daniel ka moho ali'i Makuakāne ke kane, o Ulunui ka wahine, noho pūlawa a hānau maila o David Kapua Aloha Makuakāne he kane, o David Kapua Aloha Makuakāne ke kane, o Emalia ka laiwa'a ka hana nui ka wahine, noho pūlawa a hānau maila o Moses kaukali ali'i Makuakāne he kane, o Moses kaukali ali'i Makuakāne ke kane, o Elizabeth Ayo a Fung ka wahine, noho pūlawa a hānau maila o Daniel Morris Makuakāne he kane, o Daniel Morris Makuakāne ke kane, o Lydia Ahi ka wahine, noho pūlawa a hānau maila o Gail Makuakāne-Lundin Makuakāne he wahine.
O keia ka mo'okua hau o ka ohana waipā.
O ka ipo waiaha waipā ke kane, o Pili Aloha ka hilihiwa ka wahine, noho pūlawa a hānau maila o Lei Aloha waipā he wahine, o Lei Aloha waipā ka wahine, o Li Tai Tā Ahi ke kane, noho pūlawa a hānau maila o Akima Ahi he kane, o Akima Ahi ke kane, o Annie Takaki ka wahine, noho pūlawa a hānau maila o Lydia Ahi he wahine, o Lydia Ahi ka wahine, o Daniel Morris Makuakāne ke kane, noho pūlawa a hānau maila o Gail Makuakāne-Lundin Makuakāne he wahine. Eia ka mo'okua hau o Gail Makuakāne-Lundin Makuakāne.
Yes, so Daddy was born in Kapoho, raised in Pahoa, and then Mama was born in Pahoa, but she spent 17 years of her life, first 17 years. So from about less than a week old, she went to Kapa'ahu, which is beyond Kalapana, and that's where the old Queen's Bath was located, and she was raised by her tutu. And Mama, once after her grandmother passed, then she moved back to her family, her birth family in Pahoa. So she was born on May 9th, 1955. Daddy was really shy. Extremely shy. She was. She spent a lot of time by herself. I'm going to show you a picture. And you can see the four of us. We look like refugees, but you know, that's okay. But she always was really shy, and she would just kind of, Mama used to say, that's ahiu, you know, like the pipi ahiu, they all go hide. But yeah, every time Daddy was off, when he wasn't working, and especially if it was a weekend, we always went to Puna, Pahoa, Puna, and we went to different
It was a long journey. It was a long journey. We went from
we made the whole trek
from Pahoa down into Kalapana, down into Poho'iki, Kapoho.
But yeah, we spent a lot of time with family. Although we lived in Hilo, we always went back to Pahoa and all the places in Puna. And so we stayed very connected because our father felt that was so important, that we knew who our family was. Auntie Gail was determined to learn to read. And so she was reading before she even started school. And we wanted to use that mo'olelo to illustrate Auntie Gail's personality. One example of her personality, when she set her mind to doing something, she did it. You know, she just did it. And And don't tell her she cannot.
Exactly.
Don't tell any of us we cannot do what we think we can do.
But she was obviously very bright, very smart. Very smart.
Yeah.
And she, like Auntie Teresa said, she read when we were growing up. Annie, is that right? She used to be really interested in sporting statistics. Yeah? She always used to know all there was to know about baseball, RBIs, football, different people. I mean, so for whatever reason, she really got into that.
Collecting data. Like that epidemiology.
Yeah. Right? Even before she knew. She knew. And she was very young. She was a reader. She was a voracious reader. She read a lot about everything, anything. She liked, we had a set of encyclopedia.
We had the whole set.
We had the whole set.
Never have, anything else, but had the whole set of encyclopedia
that our father bought. And so we didn't realize how important that was at the time, but that was our reference material. And Auntie Gail was always into the encyclopedia and just,
So when Auntie Edith started to offer to teach kahiko at the university, Auntie Gail was one of her first students. Yeah, so Gail really got into dancing with Halau Kekuhi, but she also did with Daddy La'au Lafa'au a lot because our father used to do that. I mean, growing up, that's all we knew. We only went to the doctor because we had to get the vaccination card, right?
Yeah.
But
everything was home remedy.
I mean, everybody then
was home remedy.
Everything was home remedy. So, we never even know La'au Lafa'au. We just knew that Daddy just practiced, and we just took whatever he gave us.
But moreover, she really loved, obviously, what she did. Whatever she did, she loved.
Yeah.
And she gave her 150%. And again, just loved what she did.
So when our group was discussing how we were going to do this, how we're going to keep the secret from Auntie Gail, we also were saying, well, we need to talk to the ohana. We should talk to the sisters because they would be able to, as you could see, capture the Auntie Gail growing up and the aina that raised them, their family support. And Hawaii Papoa Keao, you want to highlight a family? The Makuakāne sisters are hilarious, and they offer gems, which segues me to share about the first mele we did for this presentation, which is Apuna o Ikuki'i au Iha'eha'e. And I'm only going to talk about a few lines, but I'm going to share it as it relates to Auntie Gail, or how I think it relates to Auntie Gail. So if we look at the first line, Apunao, Ikuki'iau, Iha'eha'e, for me, it talks about having that desire, having that image, and having the resources available to go out and pursue your passion, do what it is that you want to do, whether it's helping Native Hawaiians, advancing education for our aina, establishing scholarships, which are things, all things that Auntie Gail has done. But when I think at least of that first line, I see Auntie Gail because she went out, she did she get and she had the desire, and she's still honking to this day. Yeah. The next line, Ikeau, Ikea, Kino Laule Hua. So Auntie Gail has been with the University of Hawaii, specifically at Hilo, for over 30 years. And I think it's safe to say that she has plenty kinolau, not just her physical kinolau, but all of us that have been affected by Auntie Gail in one way, shape, or form. Those are her kinolau. and there's still a whole lot more of us that are emerging, that are coming out, that are being affected by the magic that Auntie Gail has produced. And I said I was only going to do a couple lines. It looks like I'm going down, but I promise I'm not going to do all of them. But hela au malalo o ia pohaku, which is I mean, I think this whole mele is beautiful, but there's vegetation under that rock. And that's what Auntie Gail has done over her 30 plus years. I want to say her whole life, she's been planting these seeds, or she's been allowing for things to grow. And you may see a rock, but then if you go back to when Auntie Gail first started in UH, how many of those little seedlings are now forests that are feeding our community, feeding our aina? And that's because of Auntie Gail. And then who knows what we're going to see in 30 years ahead, all of the things that Auntie Gail has started that continue, that evolve, that continue to help our Hawaii. Okay, now I'm going to go to He Aina Ha'aheo, and I think the sisters demonstrated it. No tell Auntie Gail no, don't tell any of them no. And I think that's He Aina Ha'aheo Loa, because from as long as I've known her, which isn't a lot, but I've learned a lot from her, is that her answer is, don't tell me no. Or if someone tells her no, she's going to say, okay, I can show you how we can make it work, how we can do it so it advances the lahui, so it advances education. He aina ha'aheo loa, no puna. And then the last line is, he mai ka imaluna he a malalo. So now, a lot of us are able to enjoy or experience things that wasn't present in the past. And it's because people like Auntie Gail, with that fire, have made it possible for us now to enjoy some things, to be able to advance things. So that's why we decided to do a punao, to honor the aina that Auntie Gail and her ohana come from, and to also honor Auntie Gail directly. Mahalo. And now, I'm not going to talk anymore, but I'm going to introduce our other presenter who isn't here with us today, Pele Ka'io, who's going to be sharing something else about Auntie Gail.
Aloha kako, my name is Pele Ka'io. I'm an assistant professor in the Hawaii Lifestyles program. This mele Ahiloa Ue was performed by my students in the Hawaiian Studies 131 course, Hula 2, Development of Indigenous Leadership Through Hula. Ahiloa Ue is a mele vahipana. It speaks about various places in Hilo. What I'd like to share with you folks today is what is this mele Ahiloa Ue about, but specifically, how does it relate to leadership and looking at the leadership of Keia Ali'i or Auntie Gail Makuakāne-Lundin. So why don't we dive in? Ahiloa Ue takes us to various vahipana of Hilo, and these vahi pana, or vahi is place and pana is a pulse or a beat, and all of these different places have their own unique pulse, unique rhythm and beat. And what this mele reveals to us are the characteristics of hilo. This mele was danced by my students in the ili aina of Pi'o, a place that sustained generations of our ali'i, and a place that thrusted these ali'i to reach their own Pi'o, their heights of potentiality. It is here in Pi'o in Hilo that we embark on this huaka'i, on this journey, to analyze leadership through this mele Ahiloawe. Auntie Gail was raised here in Hilo, and she's a product of this vahi, of this place we know as Hilo, and thus exemplifies the iwi Hilo, or the core, the essence of this vahi. In the Hawaiian moon phases, Hilo is the name of the new moon. Hilo also means to twist or to braid. These meanings of the word Hilo are embedded in the function of the place, Hilo, and therefore are also embedded in the ali'i, the leaders that are fed by Hilo's waters. Hilo is a place synonymous for new beginnings and strong connections. It's a place that both embodies and inspires new creations and profound connections. Likewise, Auntie Gail also embodies these same qualities. Now let's take a look at the chant text and see how the text is applicable to the qualities of Auntie Gail's leadership. First, let's look at these vahipana as not separate from Auntie Gail, but that Auntie Gail is Hilo, is Wailuku, is Haile, and all of these other vahi, replacing the physical place with the person. Ahiloawe ho'olulu kalehua'a. We've already established that Auntie Gail is Hilo, and therefore the way in which she leads will be a reflection of Hilo. Ho'olulu kalehua is in reference to the abundance of lehua blossoms. Hilo is bountiful with lehua because of its healthy water systems. In the context of Auntie Gail's leadership, the lehua are symbolic of Native Hawaiian success, the success of Native Hawaiians who are products and byproducts of Auntie Gail's contribution are bountiful because of the Hilo leadership she possesses. Awailuku I Kalua Kanaka. Auntie Gail is the Wailuku River, a river system that is built by a lava tube. The destructive waters are really an oversupply of water that has to be funneled and directed out to the ocean. The lua kanaka are the skylights in the lava tube that are filled with water. Auntie Gail's work ethic is to give everything into pula. As she would say, you can sleep when you're dead. This tenacity to keep pushing out and pushing forward has to be channeled and directed, and she does so through her network of lava tubes. She recognizes lua kanaka, the potential, and she fills them beyond the brim. Leadership is about recognizing pathways, recognizing others' capacity to contribute and funneling the resources to create healthy and thriving systems. A haile aue I ke kula manu, a moloka'i I ke alakahi. Haile can mean premonition. A good leader has to be able to not only be a visionary, but find ways to manifest those visions. The kula manu are the gathering places of birds, the manu being symbolic of ali'i. Moloka'i is a place that is near the border of the districts of Hilo and Puna on the Alakahi Trail, a narrow trail that is only wide enough for one person. Auntie Gail is excellent in navigating the many different paths to manifest the vision. She is the kula manu. She is whom the other ali'i, leaders, gravitate to and seek out because she has the ability to carve out an alakahi, carve out a trail where one may not exist. Her attitude is that it's never no can, but how can, making the impossible possible. Panaeva ue I ka mokulehua, a leleivi a ike I ke kai. Panaeva is the forest and the mo'o. In ka'au, the larger the mo'o, the larger the resource that mo'o is protecting. When we think of Panaeva forests, we think of the abundance of Ohi'a Lehua, to the point that Panaeva is known as the district of Lehua. When we think of the abundance of Lehua, we also think about the abundance of water that Panaeva has. The Ohi'a tree is a water collector and then feeds the rest of the forest through its root systems. Leleivi is a lai, forehead, or promontory, and it is there that one can witness how the ocean comes in and ultimately how Leleivi gets its name. The word lai can also infer wisdom. This is who Auntie Gail is. As a leader, she has the wisdom and capacity to collect the water necessary to feed the forest. The forest is symbolic of all of the Native Hawaiian students, families, and programs that thrive because of the abundance and quality of the water they were provided because of Auntie Gail's intellect and contribution. Ha'ina no e kalani no hei noa. As the saying goes, the proof is in the pudding. The ha'ina of Auntie Gail's success as a leader is made evident by the success of her contributions. No mililani hei no.
So now we would like to highlight a few of Auntie Gail's accomplishments and contributions. They're not in chronological order, and I'm sure that we're missing a ton of other things that Auntie Gail has done for the University of Hawaii, for our Lahui, for Hawaii. But these are some of the things, and as you can tell, holy moly, her famous quote of "you can sleep when you're dead" is exemplified in all of her accomplishments. We know that she had a big hand in the Ka'u report that fed into Hawaii Papoa Keao. We know that her family has had a maile farm, that they've done a lot of things for our Hawaii. We know that Auntie Gail has done things like TRIO, Upward Bound, and then she's like the Mama Nui for Title III grants for this island. I want to say she's one of the big dogs for the state of Hawaii. So we know that these are things that really exemplifies Auntie Gail as a leader, or what Pele likes to call a leader. A li'i and leader combined. Ta-dunch. But again, these are just the beginning of the long list of things that Auntie Gail has accomplished, that she's done for all of us. Whether you know her or not, if you are a product of the University of Hawaii, she has affected, or she has sprinkled her Auntie Gail magic dust and made the learning experience better for all of us, whether we're instructors, staff, administrators, or students. That Auntie Gail magic is contagious and has spread throughout all of our campuses. But we also wanted to acknowledge Auntie Gail's supports that made it possible for her to do all of these beautiful things, the sacrifice of the family, but also having the support of her family so she could do these things. And we wanted to acknowledge Uncle Ed Lundin for being a huge support for Auntie Gail, along with Auntie Gail's sisters, her ohana, in fact, and knowing that these things are possible because she had that support. And that's what, again, makes her a leader. She has the vision, she has the tenacity, she has the support to do all these things. And we've benefited from all of her sacrifices and her ohana sacrifices. So again, we want to say mahalo to you, Auntie Gail, for everything you've contributed to all of us in these bullet points that don't even cover all of the things that you've done for us.
And looking at an ali'i or a leader, if we look at past leaders, past ali'i, we really are looking at, yes, what they've done, what they've accomplished, but we also look at their legacy. What have they left behind? And it's that lasting, impactful legacy that's left once the leader has retired or moved on in whatever capacity that really elevates them into what's a good leader, what's a lasting leader. For Auntie Gail, we wanted to kind of sum this up in this mele ule pahu itamotu, which actually is a prophecy highlighting the coming of Captain Cook, the coming of this big change to Hawaii. And within this mele, talking about, there's this big change, this motu, this moku that's coming in, the masks are down, and
these images, yeah, these people that we are not accustomed to, these things that we are not accustomed to are now arriving within our waters, close to our shores. And ku mai na hailo, yeah, that's making me super scared. And the thought of the future for a lot of us that have worked with Auntie Gail, have been learning from and receiving a lot from Auntie Gail, the thought of her, the future with her not with us on campus is kumai na hailo for a lot of us. But what this mele really does is highlighting the fact that there's a big change that's coming. What are you going to do when it comes? Because it's coming. Are you just going to be scared and not do anything? Let everything, this change, swallow you up and change the course of everything that you've known and that you've worked for? Or are you going to face it, either embrace it or go head on, forge your own path, and work with this change? And what Auntie Gail has done in all of her years, as we've heard from her ohana, as we've seen and heard from Ku'u, Noel, and Pele, Auntie Gail did just that. In the face of a lot of change, when and if people dared to tell her no, she didn't just stand by. She took that hoiuli, she took that steering paddle, and she navigated a way through the waters when people said no can, when people made it difficult. Yeah. She took the path of saying the change is coming, but we're gonna make our own path and move along with that change. So we invite this lovely group, some people from this group of the Kuku'ena, made up of faculty, staff, community members of Hawaii Community College as well as UH Hilo, to dance this mele for Auntie Gail. And with that, in continuing on in this unwritten chapter in moving forward with this legacy of Auntie Gail, and I say unwritten because she's still with us. We don't know what she will do in the coming future. We don't know what will continue to happen with what is left behind with everything that she's established and created in everything that she's done. But we do want to say and send out a leo mahalo to Ka'ohana Makuakāne, Auntie Elizabeth, Auntie Annie, Auntie Teresa, to Robbie Ann for meeting with us and sharing those lovely stories, not just of their ohana, but of Auntie Gail, when she was younger. Stories that a lot of us working with her might not have known. And was cute shadows pictures of Auntie Gail. A big mahalo to Hawaii Papo Keao for allowing us this opportunity here at Hawaii Community College to speak of NLE and also giving us this avenue to explore really the qualities of NLE and how we see those in our leaders today. Yeah, not just leaders of the past, but leaders that are currently with us and continue to exemplify these opuali'i. And in honor of continuing this legacy of Auntie Gail and any legacy that has been established for you or by you, we want to leave you with a hula ma'i to inspire you to continue this legacy.
But yes, does anyone have any questions or comments that they would like to share as we celebrate our ali'i that is Auntie Gail?
No, nothing. The presentation was so maikai.
The presentation was so maikai, no questions. No one is disputing. They're like, yes, Auntie Gail is the ali'i. Oh, we'd like to have maybe a kukuena or two come and share a memory of Auntie Gail. Surprise. Maybe a fun little tidbit.
We do have a question for Auntie Gail from Robbie and What's next?
Oh, Auntie Gail, we have a question from someone you may know, Robbie Ann, and she asked, what is next following your retirement? We're going to unmute Auntie Gail if she like, or she can just put it in the chat. You're the boss, you tell us what you like to do.
First of all, mahalo nui to everyone for the big surprise, totally unexpected. I thought I was going to be watching a typical He Ukana Aloha ka Kīlauea presentation, not knowing that I would be honored. So mahalo. Actually, one of the things that I've always loved to do, and most of you know that, is I love to travel, but with COVID, there's still a bit of hesitancy, but I'd like to be able to go back to some of the places that we've traveled to over the years, like Bali, Samoa, Japan, Korea. So I have, I hope that I can fulfill all of my bucket list of traveling sooner than later.
We can be your good bag holders.
Oh, and
Who
then
said, yeah, all of us will volunteer to be good bag holders.
Somebody, you can be you can carry my all my ukana as I travel. And then I actually hope to get into some of the things that I started when I got more involved with kukuena, which is lehulu, lauhala. Yeah, I have lots of unfinished lehulu that I need to finish. So I'll have lots of time on my hand to do that.
So Auntie Gail, we have to get you that video of your sisters Zooming with us, because there were so many stories that we were cracking up over. One of my favorites that we didn't get to show was the story of, was it Auntie Liz or Auntie Teresa's husband, saying that you couldn't get a couch up to the 3rd floor of a rental or someplace in Oahu, the KS dorms. And they told you, cannot, you don't know geometry. And that's going to be my new hashtag, you don't know geometry. But the way Auntie Liz guys told that story of you guys persevering and getting that couch, and for those of my generation who watched Friends, all I could hear was pivot, pivot. And just the stories and the love that, the way they shared all these stories, that Zoom recording, I think that would be a nice treasure for your family to have, and it's hilarious.
Drew, yes, come. Come back. Oh, the wireless.
Aloha, I'm Leolani Kalama, part of the Kuku'ena cohort. I just want to say to you, Gail, I don't know where you're at, but I'm so grateful for you because you brought us all together into this wonderful, wonderful experience. And we've continued to stay together, and we have our wonderful kumus here to guide us. But we look forward to having you come back to Kuku'ena. That's our goal. So mahalo nui, Gail, for all the memories. And I will attest to the fact that she never sleeps. Because I have been on Huaka'i with her, and she's up at night under a blanket with a flashlight working on her laptop. So we know she doesn't sleep. So malamapono, we love you.
Next. And then. Aloha, I'm Tanaita Tanaka, and I really miss you, Auntie Gail, at our practices because we're the short end and only have me, and then they now recruiting tall 6-footers. So you do need to come back so that the short end can, persevere, which is true. And then we are trying to remember some dances as we practice. And so therefore we go, where's this Auntie Gail? She needs to come back so that we can practice. We know that she knows the dance, which is true. So please come back to Kuku'ena. We need you.
Thank you for that Kuku'ena plug.
Aloha, Auntie Gail, wherever you are. But I wanted to so mahalo you because, we have a very long history. When we were together as institutions and then divorced and then coming together. So what I really want to mahalo you is when you started the Kuku'ena, it was the first time that the two colleges started to merge again. And it was really heartbreaking for us in the 90s when we had to split. And your genius of figuring out how for us to come together, especially through a Hawaiian cultural lens, was really brilliant. And I just mahalo that I didn't have to end my career feeling so separate from the neighbors up the street. And it was a really meaningful thing for both colleges, that we will never forget. It was really genius for you to do it through hula. Mahalo.
Aloha mai kākou. My name is Drew Kao, And Auntie Gail, we really love you. And we are so appreciative of your impact on our communities, whether they're academic or on the island or Pai'aina wide. It's profound. You've had an amazing, enormous impact on so many of us at Hawaii Community College, at UH Hilo. I think back even before Kuku'ena began, in the efforts and initiatives that you had at Kipuka Native Hawaiian Student Center to uplift the students on that campus and extending those opportunities to other people, including myself, through the formation of the Uluakea Faculty Development Program. That was one of the most powerful things that I, in all of my history at UH Hilo, ever experienced. So you've had an amazing impact on so many of us who are from Hawaii and who are not from Hawaii, and you're such a fighter, a warrior. We really appreciate that. And yes, please come back to Kuku'ena. We really, we miss you. There's certain mele that we need you for sure. Okay, mahalo.
Anyone else would like to share anything or any questions in the chat? No? If you would like to share something, please raise your hand and we can unmute you.
Auntie Gail, you have to come back Kuku'ena because nobody can whack the color out like you. And I've been next to you. So anyway, it's I'm glad I'm still alive. Okay, mahalo.
So I did include Kuku'ena will be one of the things I hope to do after retirement.
Okay, what? Oh, what was that? Gail, this is Beth.
Hi
And
there,
Teresa.
my sisters.
Well, we didn't know what to do, and Robbie Ann had to instruct us. You know, we are of the generation where we're technologically challenged. Yeah, we're very technological. So thank you, Robbie Ann, for telling us what we needed to do. Raise our hand. we're trying all the different things, but plus we don't have our granddaughters here to help us, our 8 and 9, 10-year-olds. So, but we want to say mahalo a nui loa to all of you who organized this. Getting all choked up. We're getting choked up over here. Very well deserved. Really deserved. Yeah. Yeah. And to honor our sister, our baby sister, for the many years of dedication to UH Hilo. We actually, you know, all the things that you listed, her accomplishments, that and a whole lot more. But you know, her inclusion of our family too in so many of the activities was tremendous for us as well, as an ohana, to be a part of it. And you know, she was really important foundation for our nieces and nephews there in Hilo, guiding them with a stick, a long stick, as we all have long sticks, but guiding, you know, guiding the ohana. Just you know, you felt her love, and our extended ohana felt the love that she just poured out to everyone. And it was a great journey for us as a ohana as well. And we're really looking forward to her not having to do her work under the blanket with the flashlight and getting a good night's rest. But we also know that that's just not in her DNA, to just sit back and rock in
rocking chair.
In the rocking chair. That's just not her. That's, again, that's just not in her DNA. So we know that a whole lot of grass is not going to grow under her feet, that she will be asked to kokua. And what we're happy about is that she can kokua where she wants to put her time and energy. And I can guarantee you she's going to be helping a lot. But one of the things that she shared with me last week, I was, we've been trying really hard to not spill the beans, but we were talking about what she was planning to do. And I said to her, oh, isn't her mo'opuna Kalikulehua mamo going to preschool? Or is she staying at home with you? She said, oh, no, she's going to preschool. And so I know that's going to be one of the things Auntie Gail's going to be doing with a lot of love. This is, I think, one of the areas that because she was working so hard for Hilo and for all the students, everybody, that I think she's going to really, really enjoy this part of her journey, and spending time with the mo'opuna and learning alongside the mo'opuna and contributing. I told her, but don't be like grandma, our mama, where she's anyway, but she's going to give 110% to that as well. So we're so happy that she's retiring. We understand the ha'aluluness that you folks are feeling. But don't worry, she's gonna still be there to kokua.
After her trip.
Yeah. And I'm coming, Gail.
Yeah. She's gonna go. I know she's gonna go with you because you gotta go visit all these places that you folks watch on your what tablet?
No, don't tell her.
Don't tell her. Okay, you gotta go Korea and Japan, Nigeria. Okay. Hey, Gail, how did you like your picture?
Say that again.
How did you like the picture?
I was laughing to myself because we do call those pictures our refugee, that we look like refugees fresh off the boat.
With a chawang bowl haircut.
A chawang bowl haircut, my backwards dress.
Her backwards dress. That's our favorite picture of Gail with her backwards dress.
You see how the sisters are. Lasner, Louis, Tangoro, Hawaii Papokeo. Book them. Book the sisters. Hilarious.
Put us on tour. Put us on tour. Oh, shucks.
Mahalo nui.
Mahalo nui to all of you folks for this wonderful presentation, honoring our sister, and it's well deserved.
Yes.
Mahalo nui. We actually do have a few more people that raised their hands, so the Auntie Gail Love Fest 2022 is going to continue. Auntie Ginger?
Aloha, aloha Gail, and shout out to your sisters, Teresa, Liz, Annie, and all the ohana out there. So it was really nice hearing from them. I wrote in the chat and, just mahalo nui for all that you did, especially for our Native Hawaiian community. And some of you don't know, but Auntie Gail and my path has crossed many, many, many times. We were classmates at Kamehameha, and hope we can get you involved in some of the things that we're planning for our upcoming reunion. We won't say which one, but we also we're in Kuku'ena together, and both was with Student Support Services program and helps setting up and starting that program. So we just have a lot of things to share. Both our husbands worked up at Mauna Kea, and you know, our son Kauluvela, you know, spent a lot of time with Mamo and your Ohana, and just, you know, just so much that we've done together through the years. So I just want to say congratulations and welcome to the retirement, you know, life. It's wonderful. Like I said to my husband, John, it's like, hey, every day's a holiday or or, you know, when you're retired. So, you know, enjoy it.
One more. Mahalo. We have Rabian.
Aloha. Somebody wants to say something.
Hi, Grandma.
Leonui.
Inui.
Say hi, Grandma.
Hi, Grandma.
Can you guys hear Kaliko Lehua Mamo Opana Eva? Grandma, can you hear her?
Aloha, Kaliko.
Hi.
So she was listening, Grandma, and well, she was actually talking more than anything during the presentation. But we were here listening with Annie and Moani Lehua and Mohala, Zach, and Kaehu. And we love you so much, Auntie, and thank you so much for the example that you have set for us. We are privileged beyond measure to have you as Ohana, and again, we just love you so much. And congratulations.
Mahalo, Robbie, Kaehu, Annie, Moani, Mohala, and Kaliko. Can I share a secret about what one of the things I'm really going to be doing in retirement? So my sister Annie is a watches soap operas from all countries. And every time I go over to her house, she always has the television on. And so I start to watch them. And I've gotten addicted to Chinese and Korean dramas. So I've been doing, I've already started watching them every weekend. And so that's definitely on my bucket list. And it fits right in plans for traveling, because I'd love to be able to go to some of these places that I see on these Korean and Chinese soap operas.
Mahalo nui to everyone who shared. Mahalo nui to the Ohana. Yes, mahalo nui to Auntie Gail. And as it was mentioned earlier, we really did want to go in a slightly different direction when looking at an ali'i. Yeah, we have great ali'i as examples from the past, but a lot of those characteristics have been carried on and sustained by leaders of today. So why not celebrate those people who exemplify the qualities of an ali'i, which is why Auntie Gail, mahalo nui for everything you've done and for establishing and leaving your legacy for all of us to hopefully continue in a good way.
No, again, we're here in many ways because of you, Auntie Gail. So mahalo, mahalo, mahalo to your ohana. And can I just call them the sisters? Just because, yeah, I like attend that show. But yeah, but one thing that was shared was one of the lines that your father would say, and it would be hana kapulu, ai kapulu. And like a lot of people have said, thank you for being that role model, that ali'i for us, and knowing that you don't do anything kapulu. And you are that model for us to know that if we hana kapulu, we're gonna ai kapulu. And we know like that our ohana and our community doesn't need that. So again, thank you for being that example of not of how to be a good leader and not to be the kind leaders that we write mele about as warnings. So mahalo for being that leader, that awesome, exemplary leader. And with that, I think we are pau. Mahalo, everyone.